Hello and welcome back to the Postnerdism podcast. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Sean Lavender, and I am joined once again by my next door neighbor. He's in the room next door. It's Chris Harris.
Hello again.
All right, so this week we got another collection of topics, and we're just going to talk about them for your amusement. We're going to start with movies this week because the rest of it is video games. So, we both saw movies this week. I was supposed to see another movie that I didn't see. So I scrambled last night, and Chris basically just suggested a different movie.
Is this the one that won the Academy Award?
Yes. So I was supposed to go see... Well, I guess the Oscars were last night, as of this recording. And so I was supposed to go see The Shape of Water. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Apparently it did well.
Yep.
At the Oscars. I have no idea what happened there.
Not
I always
my-
forget
not my
that
bag of
even
fish.
happening. So, not a good show?
Not my thing.
Not your thing? Yeah. So I guess it was a good movie. Didn't go see it, so there's some news. But you did see a movie.
I saw Black Panther.
Yes. And you think it rates fairly highly as far
I
as...
found it pretty high up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What would you rate as the top for Marvel movies? Put different categories.
Probably
if you
Thor Ragnarok's pretty close to the top.
That's definitely
That
my
one
top.
was hilarious and just really well done.
Yeah.
And also the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, both of them.
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about the second one. Especially compared to the first one.
Well, the first one was new. The second one was different, but I didn't mind it.
There were parts. I guess it was just it felt smaller, I suppose. Like they were dealing with their own little isolated problem. And for some reason I guess the first one was like that too, but it felt like it stood on its own a little better. I don't know, maybe knowing they'll go into the Avengers stuff tainted my opinion of it a little bit.
Possibly.
I didn't feel like it was moving in that direction so much.
I also really like Winter Soldier. So it probably slots in around Winter Soldier level.
Okay. So like third?
Third, fourth, fifth.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Somewhere
Top
in there.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, top five is always a wash. It can change day to day. Yeah, I think Thor is definitely my favorite. Mostly because it's funny. I think that's what I like in my superhero movies is a lot of humor and kind of making fun of itself in a lot of ways.
I'd still probably put the original Iron Man up there somewhere too, just because it was hilarious.
Yeah,
and
that's
it was
true. That was a really good one as
the
well.
original that started it all.
Yeah, I should go back and watch that. It's been probably 6 years, if not longer. When did that come out?
Oh, I don't even remember.
It's been going a long time now, this little universe they've created. So Black Panther, though, not funny? Or was it...
It had a lighter comedy to it. It wasn't as over the head banging you.
Not,
Just
not
here's
as
a laugh,
slapsticky?
here's a laugh, here's a laugh. It was interspersed with the action and the visuals.
The usual Marvel kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it was better, less corny, I guess. Most of the
Okay.
gags.
Yeah.
I liked it. It worked with the way the movie was. Most thing I liked about the movie was the visuals. Just they did a really good job with set design and tying that in with their CGI.
Yeah, I was watching some of the behind-the-scenes stuff with it. It's funny to see how movies look so lame in the behind-the-scenes when they're like doing action stuff, but then they make, obviously, really cool-looking stuff out of it
Yeah,
in the end.
A lot of money in CGI in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Yeah, even like, I guess every single suit, basically, has
Pretty
a CGI
much.
layer over top of it because they all just look so damn good and glistening in the end. They just can't do that in a on-camera kind of thing.
There is one that I noticed where there's a snow scene and they're kind of pushing snow around because you can't really cover a person in snow and leave them there while you're shooting because of how cold it is.
Right.
They CGI'd it. It looked kind of
CGI'd
off.
the snow, huh? Never
Yeah.
even...
It was really they put a lot of effort into it. You could tell, but
Yeah.
it didn't look quite right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never really thought of that with snow and the multiple shot. Well, I figured you'd be cold, but if you had to actually like be in the snow, which actually brings us to the other movie we saw. Just watched last night. Watched Wind River, which isn't usually my type of movie because it's just about normal people doing normal things. But it was pretty compelling, and it was actually alarming. We'll go into full spoilers with this one. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to be ruined about it, I guess skip ahead. I'll put time codes in the description. You can jump. If this is on a podcast, though, and this is audio only, I don't know, hit the 15-second button a lot, because we'll talk about it for a few minutes. But I was surprised at how quickly it ended when it got to the end.
Yeah.
And I don't think the only reason I was surprised was that I'm so used to watching TV and watching movies that have that just keep going with sequels and stuff.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, this story wraps up. It was almost alarming that it would happen that way, but it was a pretty action-packed ending.
Pretty action-packed, pretty depressing.
Yeah, definitely
kind of
depressing. But it really, I don't know. I guess it's good to be reminded now and then that normal people
what the situation
do
is
extraordinary things. It's not always superheroes and laser swords.
Yes.
Which is pretty much all I watch these days.
Star Wars and Marvel movies.
Pretty much. That and like just other generic sci-fi. Which actually I could bring up. Been watching Altered Carbon. That's the show that I keep popping on now and then. Very slowly getting through it. It's a Netflix show. It's that one with you saw a bit of it, the body swapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good show. I'm looking forward to wrapping that up. I think I have 4 more episodes in that. I would recommend it. Although you really got to pay attention. There's a lot of just like terms that you're like, what the hell are they talking about? And you kind of have to either re-remember or look up what they mean when they say certain things. And other than that, as far as watching things this week, did you watch anything else as far as movies?
Oh, not that I can recall. Nothing worth mentioning, I guess.
We both watched Rebels last week, Star Wars Rebels, which got pretty crazy when, spoilers again, if you haven't seen Rebels and you don't want things ruined, when Ezra went into that, they call it the world between worlds or whatever, with the space and changed
the connection or whatever it is.
It's funny how like a lot of people they never wanted time travel type stuff in Star Wars, but they're okay with what happened there. And it kind of it doesn't really break anything because you didn't see what happened to Ahsoka. You didn't watch, I guess, the other.
No, I'd seen that section though.
Yeah, and so like you don't see that finality of that fight between her and Vader.
Yeah.
And so he didn't necessarily change the past. That just was what happened in the past, and
it does open up the whole time paradox. Things that they generally try to avoid.
It could be a cool thing of that's how it's almost like an explanation or like a visual representation of like how Rey and Kylo got connected in the Force, or how people talk to each other through the Force in general. Maybe it's like they're in the bridge kind of thing, or whatever it is. They're in the world between worlds is a good way to describe it. Like maybe that's the bridge world, kind of where all these things are connecting, which is an interesting concept.
Kind of wondering what they're going to do with Ahsoka moving forward now.
Yeah, we've got 2 episodes.
Mind you, I guess by the time this comes out,
I don't think she's even going to be in them.
No,
honestly,
they're just going to leave it.
She was in the Clone Wars, and now she's in this, and all of these were created and run by Dave Filoni at Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
and he's obviously it's not obvious, but he's probably going to have another animated series because Rebels wraps up tonight. So people are kind of thinking it's going to be between episodes 6 and 7, and maybe it'll start once episode 9 is done, because there's the 30 years in there to try to, lots of stories to tell in there. And Ahsoka might come back then, but then it's like, well, where was she the entire original trilogy? But you could say the same thing about a lot of it. She abandoned the Jedi Order because they kind of abandoned her, and it's kind of okay for her to be removed from all of it and come back randomly.
Yeah, she's just a outside figure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset about it. A lot of people get really annoyed that a character is just left hanging. You're like, well, where was she all this time? It's like, it's a big galaxy. People can go off and do different things, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we don't know what Luke did for 30 years. We expect to find out. It's like, yeah, we can find out what happened to Ahsoka in that time, too.
Drank milk from weird sea creatures.
Exactly. I mean, probably not the whole time, but did a little bit of it at least. So I'm looking forward to watching that Rebels, and I'm probably going to try to find it as soon as we're done here. Maybe watch it tonight. Probably. I'll probably be too excited not to. So that was the screen-absorbing entertainment for this week. Moving on to video games. Video games don't interest you? See you next time. So something controversial has been in the news lately surrounding a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I found out you own.
Yes. I backed it on Kickstarter, just seeing a trailer and discussion about it about 4 years ago.
So you own it, but you haven't played it?
No, I haven't played it yet. I just threw like $10 at it and found out that it actually was coming out a while back. And, maybe I'd get it.
Before I brought it up, did you know there was controversy around it?
No, I hadn't backed it knowing there was controversy.
Yeah, I stumbled upon some random news story or video about it. And I just thought it was interesting because it kind of leads into a lot of other questions about how we kind of perceive media, and I guess in like what's okay and what's not okay in creation these days, I guess, in a lot of ways. And the big controversy around it was that there weren't any, I guess, black people or Asians or whatever in this medieval setting game.
Yeah. It kind of got raised again when it released, but it started when it first
and
was getting backed.
And I don't think it was nearly as big of a problem until like one of the developers, one of the guys, maybe the director or something, came out and started
one of the
feeding that fire.
I think, what did he say? He said when he was responding why there was no ethnicities. So we left ethnicities just because there were none in Bohemia at those times. That's all. Or better, they were very, very rare.
Yeah. And it's a game that prides itself on historical accuracy. And I'm no historian. I don't know.
There was
yes or no, but
in that time though.
There were?
Yeah. This was in response to other people backing up that there was art
that was the
depictions. There were the
argument.
Mongols in that time.
Yeah. And then I remember reading later on in the story basically that he kind of just said, well, it doesn't matter anyway. This is my creation and I get to do it my way.
Yeah. And they also said, they did say the game covers about 9 square kilometers.
Yeah,
so
which isn't a lot of space.
It could have been
I can walk around Ladner and have the exact same experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but the argument that I even just see is that, yeah, it was somebody's creating it, and they are allowed to do it whatever way they want. I don't see a problem with anybody of any genre of art of any kind doing anything they want in it. And if people don't have a problem with it, they can simply not consume that entertainment or view that art or take part in discussions, or if they want to, they can do that too. They got every right to talk about it. But I think people were really like, I mean, he said a lot of just incendiary things he didn't need to say, for sure.
It wasn't handled politically.
But it always feels like these things get blown way bigger out of proportion than they probably ought to be. And I think a lot of it is just headline grabbing. People want the story. They want clicks, and that kind of stuff does get the clicks. So it's even hard to judge of how these people actually feel about everything. But yeah, my kind of attitude on that is I think art forms should just be that. If someone wants to be a dick in their art, they're allowed to be. And if someone wants to be hyper politically correct in their art, they're allowed to be that too. And we're allowed to have opinions about it, and we're allowed to share those opinions too, but
I'd say the line there, though, is if it is directly affecting someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
In some way.
Yeah, if you're somehow actually harming somebody, I mean, that's never okay. But it gets me into other things I was thinking about, like as, well, he was mentioning a lot of the Gamergate stuff, which I didn't even know what happened when it happened. I read about it all later, but I guess it was just a lot about sexism in video games, if I'm like kind of remembering how it all worked.
You got a lot of examples of
and I know there were a lot
women
of
as the damsel in distress or the sexy
and I think
plug.
Like I can understand not wanting to alienate an entire gender from something, but video games appealed to guys, so they made them for guys. I mean, that kind of just made sense.
That's kind of a holdover. Yeah, it's changed now.
Yeah, well, it's just become
significantly.
And I don't know why that is, except probably just changes in culture. Back in the 80s and 90s when video games first came out, it was mostly just dudes in their basements playing them. Like, that's kind of... guys are more susceptible, I think, to social isolation in a lot of ways, and banding together with their bros and just kind of being awkwardly socially awkward and doing that kind of thing.
You kind of have the same thing with like the new Overwatch League. Okay. You've got all these random dudes who used to just play the game, now thrust into the limelight, and they're actually getting, like, they're streamed online, they're on TV, and some of them are saying dumb things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like tweeting dumb things that they shouldn't, because everyone's, it's changed.
You're taking the dwellers out of the basement and you're putting them in the limelight. Yeah, you gotta kind of take all of the baggage with it. And these people, I mean, no one prepares to be in the spot like that either. No. Especially when you're playing a game where it's such a, it can be a very solitary thing where you're just sitting in your room. You might be connected audibly to people, but it got me going from there too. Like even further, I was thinking about it with there's no girl character in Kingdom Come. I think it's one of the things.
That was one of the things they were.
It was like a stretch goal of their Kickstarter or whatever.
And there is no, well, all the women are pretty subservient in the game.
Which, that might be historically accurate too. I mean, it doesn't take much of a stretch of an imagination to see how
Don't actually
how
know
dark
anything about that history,
was.
so I'm not going into
Yeah,
there.
I mean, I
but
don't know enough to really say anything about it, but one could definitely extrapolate into the past just by looking past the past few decades and seeing how more equal the genders have become in most roles. But yeah, no girl character, and then it got me thinking. Well, you and I especially are like always girl characters in games, and that's a funny aspect of the Gamergate thing, which takes me back to that. It's like, yeah, the girls are always really attractive, and that's why personally I like being them more than the guys. If I'm gonna stare at a character for thousands of hours potentially, yeah, I may as well make a character that is nice to look at. And there's a lot of like claim about that being kind of a sexist thing of using this ideal or perfect or beyond perfect looking woman, but frankly, the guys all in games are way out of attainable means for most guys.
Yeah, I'm
too.
not some massive beefcake.
Not even close. So, so it was always kind of seemed, I don't know, just odd to me that people would be complaining about the female models in games being unrealistic when the guy models in games I think are pretty damn unrealistic too. But that's neither here nor there. It more came down just to the art of even that.
There is one thing pointing in Kingdom's favor in that regard is that the main character is a wimp.
Yeah.
You're not
You're
not some god going out to just smite everyone with their sword. You are some spindly guy who gets knocked around and struggles to fight.
Yeah, well, it's going for realism, right? That's probably the case for most people. Yeah, but even the way they make their characters, if an artist, male or female, wants to create, a really attractive character, I don't know. I mean, you can complain about it all you want, but is that really something to focus your energy on? It's like somebody just wanted to make something that they liked, and maybe they did want to make it so that other people would like it too. Again, is that something to really complain about? I don't know. I mean, if you want to go after setting like bad body image type stuff, I'd say there are other industries to definitely attack before video games, especially because video games are so unrealistic when it comes down to it. Yeah, so that's kind of all I had down there for that too. There's definitely other mediums that suffer the same fate from that kind of trend of hyper political correct, but like I wrote down like comedy is a good example. Like we watch some of the movies of the past, like sitcoms and stuff, and it's just like there's so many things that would not fly today.
Yeah,
it's just a rolling, changing culture, and I think the internet has really exploded things, and we're not quite used to how broad, I guess, the opinion landscape is quite yet. But we'll probably learn.
Yep.
Yeah. So you think you'll play Kingdom Come eventually?
Oh, sometime.
I've just got since you paid for it.
Yeah.
Another one of the.
I did pay for it, but I didn't pay nearly as much as other people. So.
Oh, you got like a deal for getting it early.
Oh, it was like $10.
And now it's a $60 game. Or?
I think it's a $60 game or $69.
All right. Well, moving on. It's about that time of year where the E3 predictions start pouring in. If you're not a gamer and you're listening to this, sorry. E3 is where the big video game publishers and developers come to pretty much show off what they're going to do for the rest of the year. And so I specifically wrote down here Nintendo E3 predictions because I think they're always the most fun to do because they're
are they
really
E3 predictions
or,
are they
they're
Nintendo Direct predictions?
That'll happen around the time of E3. Yeah.
I don't know. Are they actually going to E3 this year, or are they still just doing it direct?
I think they've just abandoned E3. I don't know. Well, do they still do a booth there? They just don't do their show there. I'm pretty sure that's how they work now.
I imagine they'll have a booth throwing off Labo.
Yeah,
they'll be pushing that hard.
Oh yeah, when does that come out? Is that even gonna be up before that?
I don't know.
I actually thought it was March. It might be the end of this month that it comes out.
They'll still be pushing it.
Yeah, probably. I want to play with it. My oldest nephew is old enough to probably handle it now. He's 5, I think. Or will be this year. I don't think I can leave him alone with it, but I think he's old enough to be able to like appreciate the construction of it. So I might use him as an excuse to play with it myself. But yeah, for what do you think or hope to see this summer event called E3 or not for Nintendo?
Again, Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Switch.
Do you think it's going to be a brand new one, or they're going to just...
I hope it's not just a remaster. Unless they remaster... What is it, Melee?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the Switch game is still, or the one for the Wii U is still the least played Smash that I've had, just because of the time. I think Melee is probably still the most, and then Brawl in a close second. But that new one, like we weren't even in the country
Yeah.
when that one came out, were we?
No, we
No.
didn't get into it as much as we normally would.
Yeah, so I don't think I would mind if it was that game again. I hope if they do that as though and they make it a deluxe version or whatever. First, don't call it Smash Switch or Smash for Switch the way they called it like Smash Bros for Wii U. It just seemed like a lame way. I almost wanted to just call it like Smash 5 or something like that.
Switch Smash Brothers? Give you SSB still.
Oh,
You bring the SSB
Switch
back.
Smash. Well, then it's Super Switch Smash Brothers.
Add an extra
SSB.
S.
Yeah. What's that extra S for? Yeah, if they do a deluxe though, it'd be cool if they just keep supporting it and add more characters, more stages, tweak the balance and all that. Then I'd be okay with it. It's one of those games where you almost don't want to keep putting out new ones and messing with the formula. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even really think of how good the Smash for the Wii U is. I know Samus isn't fun to play as, so I
I would have thoughts on that considering I liked my Dr. Mario and they just absolutely destroyed him the game after.
Yeah.
It was not the same character.
I don't know what they should do for that, but they need it sooner rather than later. Smash is like a staple now on Nintendo consoles,
Yeah.
and Switch has only been out a year. I think they usually come out the second year of a console.
They like to keep their cycles going with all
Yeah.
their games, their core games.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
I
imagine it.
definitely expect to see.
That'd be the most expected thing to see.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see any Metroid?
I was just gonna say that too.
Hmm.
There's got to be something else. They teased it last time.
They under teased it last time. A logo floating through space is hardly even
It's
a
been a
tease.
year. Surely they have a better trailer now.
They announced it last time, I would say.
They'll have some sort of footage.
Yeah. Yeah,
They'll flash the logo again and a picture of Samus this time.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's all we get. It's twice as long as the last year's one. I could see it being just a teaser and not coming out this year.
They might just have a date at the end of it, though. Maybe they'll flash a
Literally
date.
just says 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably late 2019 I could see it being. Which means 2019 will be a cool year with Star Wars Episode 9 and Metroid.
Because if they just flashed the logo Metroid last time, I'm guessing it was literally they just decided, okay, we'll greenlight this, and that was it.
A lot of people are, I think, wrongly talking about Metroid 4 or Metroid Prime 4 being the big online thing for Nintendo, that they're going to try to compete in the shooter space. They've done Metroid multiplayer before, and it felt like Doom, like your gun's very static, and you know how that feel that you don't get from Destiny, but you get from games like Doom.
Yeah.
It was really like that, and I guess that's not bad. A lot of people do like that. I'm kind of out of touch with like PC shooters, so
Maybe, but they could be. I mean, they've had more experience now with
True.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
Splatoon is definitely
That's a
put them on
pretty
that
big
path
online
towards
game.
it.
I wish you could play that split screen so that I could show you guys that game. I haven't even really played it because I can't play it with you guys. At some point I gotta play it. Yeah, I just can't even imagine though that Nintendo's gonna try to compete with shooters though. And that's kind of disappointing because if they do put a shooter aspect into it and make an online mode, I feel like it's gonna be half-assed, and then it's like, well, it wasn't a success, so we may as well not try that hard next time either. Like never really push it to the point of having a solid online game.
Well, they do have the end of the free period for online is coming.
Yeah,
It is coming to a subscription soon, so you'd hope they've
or they gotta
figured it out
launch
a
it with
bit.
something. Like, what are we getting that's gonna be a really cool online game? I know what I would say would be a really cool online game. Well, Pokemon Switch is probably gonna be online. The 3DS versions have been, and I expect to see that this year. It's gonna be at E3, I think, for sure. Although last year when they announced it, they were pretty wishy-washy about whether or not we would have it this year. But I could see it launching in the fall, which is when they usually do. And I think we just had one, right? Sun and Moon 2 came out just this year, or 2017.
didn't pick that one
Yeah,
up.
I haven't played any of the Sun and Moon games, which is the first Pokemon game since 1998 that I didn't play, and it feels strange. But knowing that the Switch is now like my go-to handheld, including it's weird to have two handhelds from the same company.
If they ported that to the Switch, I would play it.
Yeah, I would have bought it if they ported it to the Switch.
Because yeah, frankly, I've had bad luck with 3DSs recently. Like, one of them died. The other one was I found out it's region locked.
Region locked, yeah.
Completely shut me out of the store.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's definitely other games that I'm paying attention to for E3.
Yep.
Last of Us 2 has been rumored.
Well, that's like confirmed.
It has been confirmed.
Right? Yeah.
I want to see more of it.
Right?
Yes.
Has
it was just there was a trailer.
Okay, I didn't see that. I still have to play the first one.
You need to play the first one.
I've owned it for like 2 years.
That game was awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
I'll get to that one as soon as I finish Horizon. And I'll get to that as soon as I find time for Monster Hunter. And I'll get to that as soon as we're done filming podcast.
But yeah, I'm definitely interested in that one.
Yeah.
And what else is there? Microsoft will probably have some sort of... There's a rumor for Halo 6.
That almost has to happen.
I'm just kind of
Yeah.
To be honest,
Halo could still
the Halo
bring me
heyday
back.
for me peaked with the original and then went downhill from there.
You don't think it peaked with Halo 2? I mean, my best memories are Halo 1.
Yeah, I would probably played Halo 2 more than Halo 1 though,
Yeah.
just because of the online.
And because it was online, and it was, for me, it was every
And the clans.
night. Literally from the day it came out until, I can't say until the day Halo 3 came out, because I think Brandon broke up with me just before that came out. And that was the end of that. But, yeah, I probably have more hours in that than I'll ever have in another video game. Halo 2 for sure. I would turn that on and not even do anything. Just sit in the lobby and talk to one of the IGN guys or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this E3, actually. There's quite a bit of stuff that's been building up that we don't know about and has a chance to reveal.
Anthem?
Yeah, I'm a little scared about
Hopefully
Anthem, too.
see some more on Anthem.
That could be a really
Very
fun game.
Destiny-esque looking game.
Now that I've played Monster Hunter 2, it looks like it has a lot of that in it.
Yeah.
Which
It
is
looks like a
cool
bit of like
combination.
Monster Hunter Destiny. I'm sure there's other games that I have not played that can be tied into that area, but I'm interested to see how that one goes since Destiny 2 didn't really work for me.
Yeah. Destiny 2 is actually something we'll bring up in the next topic. Because it's about microtransactions. And that's what worries me about Anthem a bit. And it's not that the microtransactions break the game, but when they have too much of a focus, and you can just tell that things were being removed from the core experience to cater to microtransactions, then I feel like you have a problem. There's a lot we could talk about there. We'll stick to some E3 stuff. I hope to see an Animal Crossing for Switch. And I hope
They just came out with the mobile game, though.
Yeah, but I think everyone knows mobile games are flash in the pan type stuff. And I think it was a good strategy because like a lot of people don't know what Animal Crossing is. And the mobile game was just like, oh, this exists, I guess, kind of thing. And it's free. You can just try it out. And then when they launch the big full game, if they do the marketing right on it, I don't know, they could really get more buzz about Animal Crossing.
Does Nintendo know that it's a flash in the pan?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they still make money on it. I'm sure they still make money on Pokemon Go. But do they still make it on Mario Run?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that.
It would be really cool if Pocket Camp evolved and became a component of the next Animal Crossing for Switch. I would love to see something like that where because the big problem with the Switch is it's portable, and when you put online into that, you can't really like be out in the middle of a field playing an online game on your Switch. But you could be on your phone doing little aspects of the game that you then get back to a Wi-Fi and you bring your Switch out and things interact that way. I'd love to see more and more of that kind of hybrid stuff happening.
That could work, I guess, but yeah. The whole mobile aspect and is it AR, VR? It'd be AR.
Yeah.
Of the other Pokemon game just gets ruined when everyone starts spoofing their location and hacking games.
I played it pretty pure, where it's just like, didn't really follow any guides, didn't do any research or anything. I just walked around and I had somebody with me whenever I was doing it. I would never just go out alone and wander my neighborhood looking like a weirdo. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I saw plenty of people doing it. But yeah, I always turned it into a social thing. It was just fun to walk around parks or whatever and, oh my God, look, and catch guys. I'll never forget the walking out of my house here and just the little park that's just down the street. And there was just like people everywhere. And I actually felt like where I lived had people occupying it, not just houses and cars.
That's true.
Which is how suburbia normally feels. Yeah, it was pretty cool for that, like, first weekend kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's about all I'm really thinking about for Nintendo.
Uh, Elder Scrolls 6 has been rumored also.
I still got to get around to Skyrim.
Well, whatever. And a sixth Elder Scroll game.
That is Skyrim's 5, right?
Skyrim has been released so many
Yeah,
times.
I know. I have it on the Switch and I haven't booted it up
Yeah,
yet.
it's been out about 5 times, though I guess one of the versions is really just it with all the DLC, and one of them is a slightly remastered
I hear it's
version.
full of bugs too.
That's just kind of... They kind of ended up becoming part of the charm of that game. It's sort of weird stuff happening. I played it pretty good when it first came out, but I did not need to see it on that many times. It's lived its life.
It's definitely everyone in the world has the opportunity to play Skyrim.
Yeah.
Surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if in like 10 years we see it on mobile. You know?
Okay, that'll be the release actually. This year it'll be the big
or does it come out every year?
Reveal will be every year they seem to release another version of Skyrim. I think that's all I really have on E3. I'm hoping there's some good surprises in there, but
yeah, this is I think I didn't feel surprised by anything last E3. I don't think Nintendo did anything that really shocked me. I was happy to see Metroid, but I would have just been pretty neutral if I never saw another Metroid Prime game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It'd been so long anyways.
Yeah, it'd been so long, and I never even played the third one, so I'm not a big enough fan. I own it. Again, a game I'll play eventually. At one point, I just need to put down games that make you do hundreds of hours and just burn through all of the rest of the backlog. We should stream them.
I still
make it part of this channel.
What is that other one? By the creators of I can't remember the side scroller. Was it inside?
Oh, Cuphead.
No, inside the dark.
One of the Cuphead.
The dark one that was out on the Xbox. Limbo.
Oh yeah, Limbo.
Is it? I think it's Inside. Is their other game?
I'd be interested in that. Did you ever beat Limbo?
Yeah, many times. I've beaten it more than once.
Okay, yeah.
But
that'd be a fun one to do.
The other one that came out, it got really well reviewed. I actually own it, and I still haven't got around to playing it.
That Xbox as well?
Yeah.
Okay. We should do that on the big new TV. I'm sure it'll look nice and sharp. Same art style?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuphead would look great on that TV. I'm sure.
Yeah, Cuphead. I haven't gotten around to that one yet either.
I was waiting for that to come out on the Switch, but I haven't heard anything about that happening.
So Not sure, but I'll play it.
Might just grab it on the Xbox, yeah. I wonder if it's in 4K. All grainy, but not super high resolution. Okay, well, let's move on. We kind of alluded to it. The ESRB has recently announced they're going to be putting warning labels on games that feature microtransactions. So basically every single game, because I don't think any games released now that don't have. And it's not even, that's actually incorrect. It's not microtransactions, it's just in-game purchases. So that includes expansions and like direct cosmetic purchases and new maps, new characters, everything.
Will that cover expansions? Because you'd think that would be something outside.
I think when the article I was reading said just anything you can spend extra money on in the game. So if you buy a game that's been out for a year,
well, that's gonna basically cover every game because there's not really any game that does not have an expansion.
Pointless. And they kind of say it to like warn parents, but it's just like if parents don't know that games now have that, then they need to pay a little bit more attention to what their kids are doing, because every single game, that is video games basically.
They notice it on their Visa bills.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're giving your kid a credit card and saying, "Here, go play your game," it could be pretty high. So I'm going to read a little thing I found from an article. This is quotes from Patricia Vance, who is president of the ESRB. And the ESRB is the rating board for, I guess, electronic software. Is that what the ES stands for? Either way, they're the ones who put the rated M for mature or whatever, E for everyone on the games. Trying to make the podcast noob friendly. We'll see how well that works. Okay, so this is what she said about putting these stickers on. We were unable to find any evidence that children were specifically impacted by loot boxes, or that they were leading them towards some tendency to gambling. And I'll break in here to say loot boxes are the parts of microtransactions where you don't know what you're getting. You're putting your money in, and it's just a random roll of what cosmetic usually you're getting.
You're not buying it to get an item. Yeah. You're buying it for a chance to get an item that you want.
To get the item, yeah. They'll tell you what items you have a chance to get generally, but they won't tell you the odds of getting.
And generally, you won't get what you
No,
wanted.
you're usually going to put some money in there before you get what you want, unless you're really lucky. To continue on here, we truly don't know any of the evidence supporting those claims, the claims that it leads to gambling. We continue to believe loot boxes are a fun way to acquire virtual items, most of them cosmetic. End quote.
Yeah.
She stressed that the items can be earned without a purchase, but in either case, they're always optional. So it's true. I think I've never seen personally a game where I played that microtransactions, especially from loot boxes where it is random, came into like the actual pay to win type stuff. I know there are examples out there though.
There are.
Yeah.
And that was the big problem with Battlefront
Yeah.
2. And the fact that you could pretty much pay to win because you could unlock characters and stuff and better equipment quicker.
Quicker, yeah. They're
Yeah.
all able to be.
You could do it,
gameplay,
but,
it was like,
the amount of hours was
yeah,
ridiculous.
It was, insane amount of hours. Especially when a game first comes out. That's when you see these imbalances. People with a lot of money are suddenly, if it's pay to win, if you can buy things that help you in the game, it gets out of whack real quick.
I'm never interested in a game that's pay to win.
Yeah, me either.
If it's got
don't
some
support
aspect
it,
of that.
don't even want to be anywhere near it. Cosmetics, I had no problem. But I think I'll always have a problem with the loot box system of not knowing what you're getting.
Yeah.
It is gambling, and I don't care who says it's not. Well, how else would you define I'm putting my money into something, not knowing if I'm going to get what I want?
Yeah. If I'm going to get
That's
something
gambling.
crap that I did not want,
Yeah.
and I'm never going to use, or I'm going to finally get the thing I'm looking for $30 down the road.
Yeah. Or not at all.
Yeah.
You have just as good odds on your last rolls you do on your first.
I could see it being a big problem for certain other people that have addictions.
The science behind like brain development is you don't really finish your brain until you're like 25. If you get used to gambling type things when you're, I can just see if I had it when I was 12. I mean, I get addicted to games now at 31. I probably would have gotten addicted to the chase of something like a loot box. And my little bit of money I was making in my paper route, I'm sure I would have thrown it all at it. I already was buying video games like crazy.
I've already thrown a fair amount of money into a couple of the games. Rocket
League's advice for sure.
Yeah. Rocket League generally gets my money on boxes, and Overwatch used to when I was playing that consistently.
And there's a place for it. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I just don't think that. I think they could reach a market in another way. Like I could see maybe the loot boxes being cheaper, and maybe you have to pay a little bit more for the exact thing you want. Maybe there's a compromise there. But I don't know where you draw the line. And I'm sure these companies have done vast amounts of research to see which way will make them the most money. And we're living in that dystopian hell right now. But I could also see it changing with public pushback. The EA thing in Battlefront was huge. It went to like mainstream media. Yeah. So there might be a bit of change coming down the pipe.
So maybe EA will be a little weary with the other games coming out.
I hope we all forget because the news cycle's so quick.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see.
Or they'll figure out the next big moneymaker.
Yeah. Now it's just there's a stigma attached to it, which I think is a win for the gamers. Where it's like, in Destiny 2, there was no pay to win, for example. Well, there were a couple ghosts that were a little questionable. They gave you certain abilities that were an advantage, I guess. They weren't pay to win. But the backlash that Bungie was still getting, just on the fact they even had such a heavy focus on the loot box kind of portion of the game, even though it wasn't pay to win, it still had a lot of backlash just because there's a stigma around it, and people don't like it, and they don't. I think a lot of gamers do just miss the ability to unlock things, and it's like you did something cool, and now you get something cool.
The culture with Destiny was backlash regardless of whatever came out.
Toxic no matter what you do.
that developed early on.
Yeah. Destiny is the only real game I guess I actually have put money into it. Destiny 1 got me real hard because the first chunk of Destiny 1 there was no Eververse store with its
they
loot
came
boxes.
out later on,
and I was like dedicated to collecting everything in that game. When that came out, they had me. They had me good. There were a few $50 sprees getting all the holiday items. Not good.
To preface it, we did get our money's worth out of that game.
I didn't buy another game for like 3 years.
We put thousands of that.
I got my money's worth.
We might have been close to
the 2,000 prevented me from
mark.
buying. Like that money would have gone into other games if I didn't have Destiny to play.
Yeah.
So, congrats, Bungie. You got it all. But they couldn't do that for Destiny 2. Not with games like Zelda and Mario at the same time, for me at least. Kind of sitting around. There were too many other things that can grab my attention. Let's see if there was anything else interesting in this quote. Yeah, so basically that's why they just want to let parents know that they can spend money in these games, and the rest is up to them of how it's being spent.
That just seems like a cop out. It was just them doing something for the sake of saying we did something.
Yeah, they basically specifically didn't want to mention loot boxes because just the term loot box doesn't mean anything to someone who doesn't play games. Like that's, I think growing up to us, it was just something that was in the world. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go loot this monster. I'm gonna go. There's a loot box here. I'm gonna pick it up. You know, it's not something you paid for, and now it's become a term of something you pay for a random roll. And so they don't want to put specifically loot box on the warning label, and they also, I think, don't want to put the word gambling on the label or simulated gambling, which I think they should have. They have simulated blood, simulated violence or whatever, simulated gambling with real world money.
Yeah,
a little wordy, sure, but that's I think the accurate way to portray it.
Isn't there's still court cases and stuff going on, or possible legislation going on in the EU, I believe.
Yeah, actually, and Hawaii, I think, in the States,
yes, Hawaii,
is pushing legislation for it as well. I'd like to see that stuff really get. I'm sure the companies will find sneaky ways around these things and relabel things.
To be honest, the game price hasn't gone up.
That's something I want to
in
get to
a
as well.
long time.
I think we're due for at least a $10 boost. In the States, like the $60 game has been like that since.
Yeah, the cost of the game has not kept up with inflation.
I think since the PlayStation was $60 a game. At least the PS2. N64 got out of control. It was actually pretty high.
I still remember buying games for $59, $69, and they're still around that price.
Yeah.
Some of them are $10 more.
Yeah, Canada, it's like what, like $79, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should be at least $70 American, if not $80 for some of the bigger games. Like a game like Monster World. Even.
Yeah.
You know what? Monster World, Monster Hunter. There's no microtransactions in that game or any transactions, is there?
No.
That's actually a huge surprise.
There's just the there's a couple bonus things if you bought the deluxe edition.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Which is probably the price the game should be. I think it was $20 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can just tell, like, the level of polish in that game is really high. And
it's done them really well. I think they've sold.
It's their best-selling game.
What is it? 7.5 million already?
It's Capcom's. They had just announced it. I think it was today or yesterday that it's their best-selling game of all time. Like, they're the company that made Resident Evil, and this is their best-selling game. It's breaking down a lot of walls and expectations as well because they didn't expect one. It's not on a Nintendo platform. Apparently, they usually are, like on the handhelds and stuff. And it launched in Japan and here at the same time, which is like another big thing. They didn't think this market would be very receptive to that style of game or whatever, but we're all eating it up.
Yeah.
So it's a really big success for them. So I'm sure we can see more coming down, and it's probably gonna encourage them to support it and expand it as well if the game has that possibility.
If you've got that much of an audience,
it's like
if you release the expansions, you're gonna get the money coming in.
The license.
You've got the base.
At that point. Yeah. Yeah. So that's about all we had there on the ESRB.
I think that's about all we had pretty much all together.
That's it. That's the entire podcast. So thanks for tuning in again. And we're working on getting this up on iTunes. Right now you can find the audio on SoundCloud, but I don't think you can download it. Sorry, Dan. But soon enough, it'll be on audio versions of all the podcasting websites. But for now, see you next time on YouTube.
See ya.
Bye.